Okay, right. So we're interested in these two previous questions noted up there, and they give the same integrals. And so the question is, does that mean that is there an intrinsic relationship between the volume referred to in this question and the mass referred to in that question, right? So that's the thing. And there's no calculations to be shown on this question. This is a simple sort of explain what most fundamentally relates to what, and the answer to the question is no. There is no intrinsic relationship. And so let me remind you of what the diagram is that I say relates these things. We have various applications. One of them is computing the mass of whatever. Another one is computing the volume under a graph. These are different applications, and we have found that the same Riemann sum happens to relate to both of them, and that's really the end of the story right there. That does not mean that there is some magic intrinsic connection here that has nothing to do with Riemann sums. That doesn't mean that at all, right? And what would that connection be, right? I know if you're looking at a mass of a two-dimensional thing, where's the volume? There's no natural connection there. Now, the students very often will say, well, yeah, but if you think of you can compute by thinking we're multiplying mass times little pieces of area, and if you think of that mass as being a height, then you're effectively kind of computing volume. And what you're doing there is you're noting this. You're noting that the mass question can be rewritten as a Riemann sum, which itself could be thought of as representing a volume. So that's not an intrinsic relationship between mass and volume. Mm-hmm. That's an indirect connection by way of Riemann sums. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I'm looking for in that question is for students to make to be aware of, I'll say, that there is no, let me say ... No, there is no intrinsic connection there. Mm-hmm. They just happen to, it's I don't want to say coincidental, but it's kind of coincidental in a sense that they happen to be both computable by similar algebraic constructions. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody on board with the goal there? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Could they be a form of like an accumulation feature?
Well, yeah, that is something that they do have these various features in common. So there's 4 criteria that we noted that any question you're going to answer with an integral has to satisfy these 4 criteria, right. And both of these satisfy those. So they have. It's not to say that they're 100% different and have no traits in common, right? But that's not so much an intrinsic connection between the two things. That's again, you might say kind of a coincidence. Mm. Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things that coincidentally can all be computed by the same algebraic construction, but that doesn't mean they're intrinsically related to each other. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.